Okay, so there's a lot of different topics of health, and it all depends on who you are and what you're doing to how to address to everybody differently. Because you're talking about children, you're talking about 90 something year olds, you're talking about health conditions, you're talking about not health conditions, and we're bypassing everything by it's good for you. And I'm just trying to keep it simple for everybody. At the same time, a lot of information and a lot of things are based on optimal health and overall addressing everything a little bit. So a little bit of everybody. It's not just about one person here, one person there. The big thing I want people to understand that might not know this is I can go to Live Island Cafe, I can go to Whole Foods, we can go to Vitamin Shop, we can go to concerts, we can go to any scenario, any type of person, anybody's house, any party, sample shakes out, just give out shakes, whatever you want to call it, even if they don't know what's going on. Like some of the people at the Country Music Awards didn't know we were sampling shakes. They had just been grabbing stuff off of trays with flyers, and that's how actually Lionel Richie first drank his drinks. He already drank a bunch of cups. So Greg Allman already drank 4 cups before they knew what they were drinking. So these people are already energized, hyped up, this, that, whatever you want to call it. I ran into a bodybuilder recently, and he does everything. He's had a bunch of stuff go on, all kinds of things. I gave him 5 scoops, which I would never tell anyone to do, not because I think it's dangerous, but because digestion and this, that, and people are people. So people aren't easy they don't even register the idea of nutrition in their body, so how are they supposed to judge anything? So this guy already does everything. We talked a lot. So he knows what the deal is. He did 5 scoops, which would be, let's say, 25, 30 milligrams of whole leaf caffeine, right? He was in not a shock. This is like a pretty big guy. He wasn't in shock, but he felt different than he feels. Like he felt more amped up, stronger, hyped up, whatever you want to call it. But what does that come down to in a nutritional sense? Because what did he really consume? Trace minerals, phytonutrients, enzymes, fatty acids, phospholipid acids. And this is a guy that tried everything. He's tried fish oils. He's tried some superfoods. He's tried so many things, and he feels different. Then you take the type of person who never did anything good for them in their whole entire life. You know, if I give 3 scoops to my aunt who eats McDonald's every day, she's going to drink it and go to the bathroom. Is that bad? No, because people in America go to the bathroom like 4 ounces versus 2 pounds in like a jungle-ish scenario, something where there's no like fake stuff in life. But the fact is, let's go to Whole Foods. People eat good already, or they eat good. They think they eat good. They eat Greek yogurt. So they as they're filling up their shopping carts with Greek yogurt and things like that, they're drinking this shake, Rockin Wellness. So they just drank it. They don't know who we are. They don't know what's going on. They might have got yelled at 7 in the morning because they're tired and I'm wide awake, right? So they walked up, and whatever it was, most people take the sample. They go in. They walk around Whole Foods. They come up to us, and the line of people. So if we sampled 150 cups, 125 people will come back and they are shocked. They feel different, this and that, whatever and whatever. Same thing happens everywhere. So why is it that people feel different on Rockin Wellness? My big thing is I'm obviously posting all these doctors, all these people, all these movies, so I must understand the basic foundation of all of this in the books, and I kind of get what's out there. Um, the big thing is, if the food is depleted, that changes everything that we think and that we know. So this is where I come back to, because now I can go to New York City Expo with the health people that do all the same stuff, and they feel different off sample of cups. So why is Rockin Wellness making people that already drink pretty much Rockin Wellness feel different? And that comes to age, sourcing, something. There's something there that's different. And the whole non-irradiated, organic, non-GMO, vegan, raw, fresh than you can get in stores, that's all real stuff, because if we get in product, we make it, and it's delivered to the customer very fast, and it's 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years newer than going through a normal system or whatever it is. That could be a very big deal. That could be overlooked, because if you have whole hemp seeds, right, and it's not a dried out hemp oil, like hemp powdered thing, you got omegas and all this stuff, proteins, right? So if that's old, never mind processed, so forget about hemp powder, throw that in the garbage, right? So you got whole hemp seeds. If the whole hemp seeds are 6 months old or 10 years old versus new, the freshest you can get it, there may be a difference in that. And that's where I kind of come back to getting the whole health thing, being around the health community, 8 years of shakes and teas, and trying to figure this whole thing out. Um, and what's there's different messages to different people, and that's what gets really confusing. And it all comes down to all we're saying. Like my main thing, like there's plenty of stuff. You can go to every ingredient and find all these benefits, and they're all amazing and all kinds of stuff. And when they're put together, it becomes more amazing. Because let's say raw chocolate bothers you, it doesn't mean raw chocolate maca and lecithin bothers you, because that's a different adrenal situation nutritionally. But if the whole point of Rockin Wellness is nutrition, and the soil's depleted, so if you eat a cucumber, right? We just had this not meeting in New York City because two people talking to two people, and we're just trying to get this whole. One of them drinks a shake, one of them didn't, and one of them's into sports, and he's technically pretty serious athlete and whatnot. So he's trying to figure out, as he's tired and we're all energized. The other three people are energized, and he's starting to get tired. He eats every 2 hours, blah 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 blah. And he's getting tired. So he's trying to figure out this whole thing, and I'm trying to make sense of it to somebody, and it's not. I'm not trying to sell him anything. Now that's where you guys have to understand. We're not trying to sell anyone anything. We're trying to get them to understand that if they drink a shake, they're going to feel different. Whatever that means, it's good nutrition. It's good for you. You'll probably feel different. Everyone feels different. Everyone goes to the bathroom different. Everyone's hormones are different. Blah 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 blah. So, the food. If you grow a cucumber in soil that's depleted, the concept is the food is now sick. You got to understand that mentality. If food was susceptible to parasites, fungus, bacteria, virus, and mold standard, all right? So in the jungle, if this thing was growing and it was susceptible to everything, it would be dead. It would be extinct. I think so. Whatever it is, right? So this thing wouldn't even exist on the planet. Okay. So it has to have a natural mechanism. So you take that plant and you grow it outside of its natural environment, which is soil that is not depleted. So we have depleted soil. So it's supposed to have a natural mechanism to stay alive. Now, imagine you eat that. What's going to happen? You're eating a cucumber that is barely alive. It doesn't have the mineral content. It doesn't have the natural mechanisms. It doesn't have the ability to exist in nature. That plant is being kept alive by human technology, right? So if you consume this plant and it's sick, and you live off of sick food, and the animals you eat are living off of corn, and they're sick, and they can't stay alive, and they need growth hormone to speed everything up, and they need other things like antibiotics. So if you're eating, you have one option here. The animal's going to have protein. So everyone's obsessed with protein. We'll go there too. So the animals are going to have protein if they're alive. If you're alive, you have protein, technically, right? Everything alive has protein. Everything alive has protein, okay? So they're a screwed up version of protein. And then you got on the other side, the plants are a screwed up version of protein. Now, I believe organic, eat the best, do this, do that. Yes, all the way, 100%. I'm all about vegan and all that stuff. But this isn't about that when it comes to Rockin Wellness. Rockin Wellness is about high content food. So on one side, you have sick, acidic, horrible proteins. On the other side, you have versions of horrible and versions of depleted, which are still, I think, better than the other way. But when you look at like a vegan, all these negative things about vegetarians and vegans and all that stuff, there's negative about both sides when you're talking about a diet that's depleted. So that's really where we want to get, is an understanding that of what depletion is. Because if I go to a New York City Expo and I run into a vegan that does superfoods and they feel different on Rockin Wellness, and a week later they're messaging and they're all excited and they're all about Rockin Wellness, what was wrong with them in the first place, nutritionally? Right? Then you go to a meat eater, horrible lifestyle, horrible everything, horrible whatever, blah, 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 blah. They get into the shake. A week later, they message me, progressively, usually wanting to change their diet also, because now they believe that once you feel different, blah, 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 your instincts change. So they'll message the same thing. I feel amazing, this and that, blah, 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 I'm changing my life, blah, 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 blah. So both sides are deficient. Now imagine trying to grow up in a world where both sides are deficient. Then going to children. Children grow up in this too. So you gotta really think now. If both sides are deficient, is it not a mystery why nothing seems to work? There's no diet that works. There's no calorie, carbs, fat, protein. There's no cleansing that works. There's no anything that works because it's depleted. You just have to understand that one little piece of everything. And if you understand that, you can piece together why every video makes sense. Why is all this stuff making sense? And everything lines up. So I think that's where people need to reflect and really think about how could you have an alkaline bloodstream if your food's depleted? How can you be a healthy vegetarian if your food's depleted? How can you live in a world where your food's depleted? The only way you can is the same as the farms. It has to be intercepted by man and science to survive. So there's a lot. It's about everybody. There's a weird thing because it's not about selling it to somebody if you're passionately about it. That's a whole different thing, especially when you have the feedback for years of this and you see everything. You see these people that are happy and everyone's surviving and you're doing stuff morally correct. So now it's about how do you talk to people without turning anybody off and also giving them motivation to do a life, something that's good for them. It doesn't, there's no mystery in this. If you drink a shake, like I'm drinking a shake today, if you put the math of my diet together today, I could look at anyone in the face anywhere and tell them it's probably cheaper than what they spent today. And their diet sucks. Is that true? Probably. So, like when you can do a shake and you do the math. I'm intense and I'm only spending $4 in a day, $5 in a day on shake. And I'm doing it as almost my entire diet. So you can do it the right way. You can spend $6, you can spend $4, you can spend $2, whatever you want. $3 and change will replace your coffee and a meal, and instantly it's just a better option, and it's the only option. And that's not saying Rockin Wellness is the only thing that exists that's okay. But if I can't buy it, then you can't buy it. If there's no system set up to get stuff fresh, if the manufacturing process is not done a certain way, standard, then it's almost impossible to get certain things. And that's what this is about. Is we're about changing the business thing, changing the way that stores function, changing the fair pricing, and also while giving people something quality that we would want for ourselves and our family, and just a realization that it's not expensive. You replace 5 meals, 10 meals, 20 meals, or 300 meals with something that's not that much money. You're either saving money, spending the same amount of money, or a little bit more for something that's good. And there's no way to actually argue this. And that's why in person, everyone, if the words loses, whatever, gives in, caves in, doesn't matter. Especially when a sample of a shake is involved because they're drinking it within 10 minutes they just buy it. So this is about the fact that statistically everyone loves Rockin Wellness, everyone feels different, and then there's a huge testimonial some way, shape, or form. That's what this is about. And when you talk about nutrition and natural, if you talk about optimizing the body through optimal nutrition, a bodybuilder, a yoga woman, a child, and a grandfather, grandparent, grandmother, whatever, great grandparents. If you're only talking about depleted food versus non-depleted food, then you can talk about cholesterol and body fat and hormones and growth hormone and this and that and whatever, and breakdown of fats and breakdowns of cholesterol and transfer of nutrients and absorption and alkaline. You can talk about every topic, but it's all the same. No matter what age you are, eating food that's from soil that has content is good for you. That's the point. So yes, there's a billion topics, and yes, there's a million ways to explain things, and trace minerals and enzymes and this and that and whatever. But everyone's so afraid to do something because they're weak, tired, ill, whatever, bad decision makers, their finances. All these things are just huge distractions. And if a kid is growing up on crappy food and you know that, and you're afraid of them getting energy because of something healthy going into their body, you have to reflect on that. If you're afraid for yourself to put in high content food, then that doesn't make sense. Period. There is no discussion. There is nothing. There's nothing going on related to Rockin Wellness, related to our products, related to the health community, related to all the people we support and that we're part of. There's no arguments from anybody about anything. It isn't an argument. It's common sense only. And it all makes sense. It's all documented. The USDA chart that's up, today, and it's up all the time, and it's available on the info page. They say officially that in 2006, there's less than 10% of 100 years ago of soil content. That's common sense. If you take all these official pages and copy and paste a bunch of things together, you got yourself a fact, is what they would call it. And it's very interesting. And our customer feedback is that good. And we've done things that are official. We've gotten things back from official things. It's not about medicine. It's about high content, nutritious food. Nutritious food. And that's it. So if a bodybuilder who's done everything in the planet drinks 5 scoops and he has more energy than 600 milligrams of caffeine and there wasn't even enough caffeine for him to feel, then there has to be something going on. And if everyone's feedback is amazing, there has to be something going on. And if humans have instincts like every other creature on the planet, they wouldn't really have to debate too much. And there aren't good things available on the market standard. You can't argue any of that. Everything would lose in tests. If you were to test everything on the market, there'd be warning labels on everything, literally, because none of it's right. And you're talking about crazy depleted, crazy old, crazy manipulated, crazy substances inside of stuff that aren't even on labels, like organic neurotoxins. And it all comes down to the owners, what they're doing, what's going on, what they know about. If you don't walk into your manufacturing facility everywhere and you're not there and you're not part of it, how do you know if they microwave something? It might be standard to microwave tinctures. You don't know that. And that's stuff that if someone does know, then they're intense about it. But they're not against anybody. They're actually pro everybody, pro change, pro people doing good. They want people to see what they see. So if I was almost disabled at 20, illness and this and that, and infections, and I battled everything, and I've helped so many people talk about stuff. Not helped, talked, So you reflect on things, you talk to people, and I want to hear about someone that was borderline dementia, Alzheimer's, and now they seem to be okay. I just listen to their story. And that's what this is about. But on my end, if I sample 10,000 people and 10,000 people feel good, then I tell people. That's it. And you have to understand that as a person, that it's not just randomness. And if food's depleted, you're eating depleted, you'll be depleted. And that's common sense, and that can't be debated by anybody. If you eat depleted, you're depleted. If the food's going depleted, the food's depleted. If the food's changed, the food's changed. And I don't think changed food was part of 100 years ago, right? So there's so much to talk about, so much to reflect on. Our customers drink, when I say drink 2 scoops in the morning instead of breakfast, I'm expecting you in 3 days like everybody else just to have something going on that they feel like something's going on, so that they can be a testimonial in 3 days and 4 days and 10 weeks and 5 weeks. And you gotta realize, like, let's say you're supposed to drink a gallon of water every day. Okay, hydration. Is that magical? Is that anything special, right? So you start drinking a gallon of water every day, you start going to the bathroom more, your energy starts to go up, and you start to go through changes. It's the same thing. And we're also dehydrated too. It's the same kind of concept. If you're eating depleted food and you switch to non-depleted food, which was nature and natural, that's like going on vacation to Costa Rica. Is it that dangerous? Maybe because of other things, but that's just the way life works. And it's not crazy. It's all simple. It's all basic. You have to enhance your nutritional foundation so that there's no zeros in everything. So rock on, Mike. Sorry for the rant. Talk to you later. Bye.